Hey geeks, welcome to the 17th episode of Rockin The Code World with dotNetDave. I'm dotNetDave, David McCarter. I'm really glad you're here. I'm happy you were back. We were off last week, and which I'm kind of glad because it gave me a week to recover from the illness I was dealing with, and so I'm all better now. I got a COVID test last week. I'm free of COVID. Yay! So I'm really excited to get back to doing shows. This week we have Claire Novotny on, and I'm really excited to interview her. She's works at Microsoft, and I've been looking forward to this. I've been following her for a while, and so it'll be nice to chat with somebody that I've only known through Twitter so far. So anyway, let's get going. I got lots to do today, and lots to talk about. So. On Monday, I released my brand new open source project called Spargene. You can go to spargene.net to go learn about it. And in these open source projects, I released 4 open source projects Monday and 4 NuGet packages, all written 100% in .NET 5. So if you're moving to .NET 5, which you should be moving to .NET 5 because the performance increase in .NET 5 is pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me, based on the benchmarking I've done. So if you forget .NET Framework, forget .NET Core, move to .NET 5 now just because of the performance gains. But there's lots of other great things in .NET 5 too. So I hope you'll go check out Spargene. Also, I hope you'll contribute. So please... do a pull request and contribute to the program, and I just might send you some free cool .NET tips swag. So, and my friend Mark, I think he's asking me about that animation. Oh, the name. Oh, Spargene. So, I was trying to come up with a unique name for this project instead of calling it the .NET Tips Utility, which is kind of a boring name. So I wanted to come up with something halfway exciting. So one of the things I like to do, and my friends my team members at work know this, is I like to make up words. So I use a word combiner on the web, and I combine words together to make a new word. So that's what I did for Spargene. So Spargene is actually a combination of Spark and Engine. So that's how it came about. And I made that cool little animation to give me something to do last year. And I call that my code cannon. It's shooting out binary code. So that's what I do when I'm bored and have some free time. So anyway, I hope you go check it out. Go to spargene.net. And I'm already working on the next version, including a comprehensive documentation. So stay tuned for all that. If you don't know by now, my brand new book is out. Here it is right here. David McCarter's .NET Coding Standards for Microsoft.NET, the 7th edition. So I hope you go pick it up on Amazon. It's got over 130 new pages from the last version, and it's lots of great stuff in the new book, and it's the thickest book I've self-published. It's actually kind of heavy, so I hope you go check it out. So we're going to do some giveaways today. Everybody's going to get a copy of CodeRush from DevExpress like every week, and then we're going to give away some CSharpCorner swag too. So let's do that. Oh, first, before that, I did a Twitter. I'm doing Twitter polls all the time, and basically because I have questions about what other people are thinking most of the time. And so my question last week, I think, was, which using statement are you guys doing? There's kind of like 3 ways to deal with disposable objects in .NET. And actually, while I'm on this subject, there's not enough developers to worry about disposable objects, because every code base I look at, I have to fix everything, and it takes me a long time. So you need to care about disposable objects, and you need to dispose of them properly when you're done using them. So in the beginning of .NET, we had the try finally. That's how we did it. And we can see here no one's using that anymore. And then we got the using statement, which is a little bit confusing because in C# there's also a using for namespaces. And that's what we've been we've been using for a really long time. And now recently they have a simple using statement that makes one line of code. And I was kind of wondering, what people prefer. I kind of prefer the using statement block because that's what I'm used to, and it makes it nice and structured. But I'm trying to use the simple using statement to kind of get used to it and see how it goes. But anyway, it looks like the majority of people at this point are still using the using statement block. So anyway, that's that poll. All right. So everybody gets a copy of CodeRest from DevExpress. DevExpress. It's my favorite code refactoring tool in Visual Studio. It's the only refactoring tool I've used in Visual Studio. And I love it. It makes me so really, really productive in my code. And makes me code better. It actually teaches me things too, right? So please download a copy. Go to devexpress.com/dotNetDave. It's free. It's a real copy. It's not, limited in any manner. It's a real copy of CodeRest from DevExpress. So if you're getting into refactoring or need a better refactoring tool than what's in Visual Studio, then check this out. It's free. Why not, right? And like the last show, this show to win the CSharpCorner gifts, tweet a screen grab of the guest of me interviewing Claire today, and tweet it to CSharpCorner live show and to me, and Simon will pick probably the first person that does that, and you'll win the prize. And so if you do that, you'll get your name up on the show. How about that? There's an incentive besides winning free stuff, because I know you guys like free stuff, right? So, all right. So I want to talk just a minute about something that I showed you guys last year. And so, if you've been following my show or following me, I'm working on some geek kind of related art, and this one is actually hanging up right above my desk here, and I call it my rock computer, and it's an old bass guitar that I put electronics on, and a working speaker and LED lights around it. And so anyway, I've been thinking about what my next project's going to be. So last week I was at the repair shop where I get my guitar set up and repaired, picking up a brand new guitar to get because they set it up for me, so they have some old stuff they're selling now, which is actually my suggestion the last time I was at the shop, and so I picked this up. Let me show you. It's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, this is an old Chinese musical instrument. If anybody knows what this thing is actually called, I'd really love to know the actual name of it. But I'm going to turn this into some techie, geeky art kind of thingy. And so I actually had a discussion before the show with Simon, and we might put a Raspberry Pi or something in the back here because it's hollow. And on the front, me and Simon are going to work on some kind of LED display of the Wi-Fi signal in strengthening your home. Huh? Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to collaborate with Simon, who's my producer on this show, and we're going to do that. I think it's pretty cool. So what are you guys doing to keep your creative stuff going during the pandemic or for your job, right? This is one of the things I do besides playing guitar and doing photography and stuff like that. So if you have any ideas for something I can make or any ideas for that guitar, please let me know. You can make a comment here, or you can just email me or tweet me. But I'm always looking for stuff to do. I actually have another project sitting over there I'm working on, which is actually an old Dell server dual CPU motherboard. It's freaking huge, and wait till you see what that is. So I guess that's actually my next one, and then the guitars after that. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys that and see if you guys have any opinions on what you'd like to see. So, all right. So with that, I'd like to introduce Claire. Claire is the program manager on the .NET team at Microsoft and is also the executive director of the .NET Foundation. She's been writing code on the Microsoft platform since the days before .NET. Me too. I was actually in production in beta 1 of .NET. So we have a lot to talk about. And is passionate about empowering others to build great things, which is great. And I've been following her for a while, and that's why I asked her to be on the show. So welcome, Claire.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Good. Before we start, I have a favor to ask you.
Sure.
Ready? So when you post those pictures of food, can you delay it by 3 hours? Because you're making me hungry every freaking day in middle of the afternoon, because you post those pictures of that wonderful food you make, and it makes me hungry. So stop it.
Well, I'm guessing by that you're on the West Coast, so
Yeah,
I'm based in New York City, and so
yeah.
that's the dangers of food Twitter, right?
I know. And so you make me hungry every afternoon, but luckily it comes around my snack time. So
well, that's good. Hopefully you get a chance to have something.
I know. So how are you doing during the pandemic and all this stuff? I've also been watching, the pictures you've been posting around, you've taken around New York City, because that's where you live.
Yep.
And I've been following that. So how's it going there?
Oh, it's doing a lot better now than it was. I think that folks are in a more of a routine. Mask usage and everything else is pretty high here. I mean, nowhere's perfect, but in general, I think folks take it pretty seriously. And it's crowded. You're on the sidewalk and there's people around, but we all do what we can to stay safe.
Yeah, good. And hope everybody else is doing that too. I know things are looking better in America at least, but don't let the foot off the gas. We need to stay the way we're doing it now until it's over. Right.
Oh, for sure.
Or, until we reach herd immunity. So, don't listen to, some particular governors in America, and, listen to the CDC. Right. And so anyway, enough about that. So you're the executive director at the .NET Foundation. So the first thing I wanted to talk about really quick was, just a kind of a brief overview exactly what the .NET Foundation is and what it does.
So the .NET Foundation is an organization that is separate from Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft does not own or control the organization, but it's an organization that is there to help hold the intellectual property, the IP of open source projects, to help ensure the continuity, make sure that these projects they exist both now and in the future, that there's a healthy ecosystem for maintainers, for consumers, for new folks learning who want to use it. And it's really just there to promote that all and just keep everything healthy.
So as executive director, what do you do in that position?
So my day-to-day job for that is mostly that of a cat herder. So we have a board of directors, which has 7 members that are all volunteers. So I thank them generously for their time. But the board of directors lead up various committees from marketing, members, projects, outreach. There's an ecosystem growth committee now, and there's going to be an education committee that's spinning up. We have a lot of ideas on that front. And the vast majority of the work happens in those committees. These things are discussed. What should we do? Which project should come on? What standards should there be? What can we do in various areas? And my role is to keep it all moving forward. What's going on? Who are we talking to? The right people? Are things moving forward? And so it's steering that all and keeping things on track is a lot of what I do.
Yeah. That's great. And that's all side job, right? That's not your main job.
So that is part of my main job. So
okay.
Microsoft has me. I work for Microsoft on the .NET team, and I wear several hats in that role. One of them is as executive director of the foundation. So I am the only paid employee whose part of their job is to be on the foundation. But when I work and I do foundation things, I have my other hat on as in that role. I'm also on the PM on the Microsoft .NET team, and I'm looking at secure supply chain stories and how we work on that. It's particularly relevant these days with all you heard about SolarWinds and those breaches. And I'm also looking at the future and the strategic direction of MS Build, the tool that helps everyone who's on the .NET platform actually compile your code.
Yeah, I've seen your tweets about that. And, one of the things I was thinking about just while it hit my head, I think I asked Scott Hunter to do this when he, maybe after he was on my show or before he was on my show last year. And, one of the things I wish Visual Studio would do would surface more the MS Build compiler stuff in the properties of the project, right? And especially moving to .NET 5, I was talking to the guys in Code Factory yesterday, and the differences between the project file, .NET Framework, .NET Core, and .NET 5 are really, really different, right?
Yeah.
And so, I've tried to, figure it out, and I've done things wrong, and had to back things out, and so I don't know. It would be nice, if we kind of had, especially the people that don't know a lot about that stuff. It would be nice to have more switches because, those things haven't changed forever in .NET, in Visual Studio.
So we are actually working on a new project UI page. I believe it's available in 16.9 in the preview.
Okay.
You may have to turn it on in the experimental features section. In the Visual Studio options, there's a area which lets you turn on preview features that may be, work in progress. So there is a new project UI page that applies to certain project types in certain conditions right now. And that's being worked on to help improve that. Because the existing properties page that you've seen, it's a little long in the tooth. It hasn't changed much in a very long time.
No, not at all.
So hopefully that will help and be able to support some of the more dynamic options in the project file and make it easier to discover and change without mucking up your project file either.
Yeah. It's like, one of my favorite new features of .NET 5 is the single, single file executable thing. I like that. I do all my, open my NuGet packages that way now, and also, I like the trimmed, feature too. I use CodeRush, to get rid of the old, stuff in the project, but trimmed will do that too, right?
Yeah, so assembly trimming will help get rid of all of the code that you don't use in your project. So it makes it easier to say, well, we have this giant framework and all these packages, but here's the code paths you're actually using.
Yeah.
Where that gets a little tricky are things like reflection-based technologies, like WPF data binding, or other places where you might be using reflection to invoke code in certain cases. You need to teach or tell the trimmer that, hey, I actually kind of need that code there. So
cool.
There's a lot of attention being made to that area ongoing.
Yeah. I should look later, but I was looking at the sizes of my new Spargene assemblies, and man, they're small.
Very cool.
They're pretty amazing how small they are. and I think it's cool. So anyway, I think we need more visibility. So I'll check that out later in the preview. I haven't really looked too much at the preview since .NET 5 came out, so I'll check that out.
Yeah, it should just be the same publish trimmed equals true on the compile on the publish option, and it will do its thing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and Mahesh, the guy who runs CSharpCorner, just said, I believe there's not enough show talks about Visual Studio features. I agree. And that's why my last two guests were, from the Visual Studio team. So I plan to have, for everybody out there, I plan to have as many Visual Studio people I can convince to come on the show and talk about those features. So, and I plan to, ask people who have been on the show to come back, like when .NET 6 comes out and things like that. So, let's, we don't have any questions yet. So, one of the things, so we have a couple of topics we could talk about during this show. And, one of the things, we'll see how this goes. But one of the things I learned quite a number of years ago, and the way I learned this was, it's actually up in Silicon Valley, and to speak at the Silicon Valley Code Camp, and I went to the speakers dinner, but I got there early, and someone else she was from Microsoft, and she was working at GitHub. Joined me, and we had some, drinks and talked, and she told me for the first time about this dark side of the open source world, right? And I didn't know it existed, because I don't do that, and so, and actually, quite frankly, I've been kind of hesitant to say I'm an open source developer because of this subject, right? And, even though I am, and I have been for a really long time, even before, GitHub and NuGet was out. But, what she told me was just floored me, that, the way that men, treat women, on, these open source sites, where you can chat and make comments and things like that. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe people actually waste and spend their time doing this just really negative thing. And I just don't understand it because, I'm not that way. So what do you think about this subject?
I don't understand it either, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would anyone want to be so negative? But unfortunately, I don't think it's limited just to software either.
No,
I
yeah.
do think that you see in many industries, many places where the women were initially dominating and it became more popular. Men came in and we kind of got pushed out.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that computer science programming actually started out as primarily women.
Yeah, I know. And I've, and things, back when I started, software engineering, 27 plus years ago, the demographics of software teams are, a lot different, than they were back then. Primarily back then, the teams I worked with were all white, and now I'm the only white person in my team and the only American in my team. And, which I think that's great. And also I noticed, when I first started going to conferences and stuff, there's not enough women either, and I've always encouraged women, I've mentoring, a 26-year-old woman on my team right now. I helped her get into a master's degree program. I'm mentoring her in her schooling and work and other things. And so I've been working really hard at, making this better, and it has gotten better, in the last 27 years, but nearly not good enough, and because so it was started by women, right? Women, I will flatly agree, women are usually smarter than men, Sorry, all you men out there, but they're way smart because they can multi-thread. We can't, right? And so. So when I see tweets, I've been seeing a lot of these tweets lately about women just complaining about what men do, online, and about,
It's not just online, though. I mean,
well,
I
yeah,
was
I know, yeah, it's
you have
conferences
you
too.
have creepers everywhere. I mean,
Yeah,
I was outside of the subway. It wasn't late. It was 8 o'clock, and you had some older person kind of coming near me and backing off. It's like backing off, and he's kind of coming near me again, and it's just like, no, dude, back off.
yeah,
He eventually did, but it was very like, why would you do that? This you just it's everywhere.
yeah, yeah. Politics too, unfortunately, right? And um, so because I know a lot of women, have not gotten into this, career, or am jumping out of the career because of this, right? And I think that's just horrible, right? Especially when we need more women. Men are actively trying to get rid of them, which is
I
insane,
think
if
that
you ask
if you
me.
just have like healthy environments, treat people with respect. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think that women or other groups need special treatment. It's just let's just be kind to one another. Let's
yeah,
not do creepy things. Let's be positive. Let's be supportive. Let's be encouraged. Let's be open to new ideas and new, different ideas.
hmm,
Benefit from the diversity of thought and experience that everyone brings to the table. Everyone new, everyone different has their own perspective that they were brought up with, their own way of thinking about a problem.
hmm,
And you don't know which one it will be, or both, or all of them, that might lead to the solution that really ultimately benefits or works.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. So guys, cut it out. Really, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's we're all in this together, right? And if we all help each other and collaborate and work with each other, software engineering will be a lot better world to work in, and to be in, right? And you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. We don't need to do this too, we got enough problems going on, especially in America, and so yeah, so I'd love to do more shows about this, maybe in the future. If anybody wants me to do them, let me know. But I just wanted to at least talk about it a little bit because, like I said, when this person first told me, I just wasn't aware, and so I think maybe part of the part of the solution is just the awareness, right?
It's not something that people want to actively bring up and talk about, but it's absolutely there. And as
Yeah,
most people who are not targets of this, you're just not going to see it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, okay, guys, cut it out, or just stop doing it to anybody. I don't care what it is, women, people of color, it doesn't matter, right? We all have something to give, and to try to cut somebody out is just you're not my friend if you do that. Let's put it that way. I hate to say it. I'm not being politically correct. I'm being correct. So
There's no politics in doing the right thing.
right, right. Politics. Ugh. Um, so see, what else can we talk about? Speaking. So you want to talk a little bit about speaking? What's I know I unfortunately I'm used to my speaking withdrawal right now, which I don't like to be,
Oh, it's so hard. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I've mostly been avoiding the virtual conference circuit.
yeah.
Have you done any of the virtual conferences?
I have, the first one I did last year was NDC, and then I've done a bunch for CSharpCorner, and I've done some other conferences last year. And me personally, I don't enjoy them near as much
No.
as being in person.
For,
Yeah,
for me, I mean, I love speaking. I love helping people out. I help, hopefully, showing folks, something new and learning with them together. And doing it on a virtual screen feels, I mean, it's very one way. It feels to me like it's all of the work of assembling. Those talks take a ton of time. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, and
Yep.
I don't think most people in the audience truly understand how much time and effort goes into even a 20-minute or 30-minute or 60-minute talk.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get paid for this. No. Even if it's part of our jobs officially, we're spending plenty of personal time on these things.
Yep.
And, for me, part of the reward of giving these talks is that interaction, the person to person, let's talk after the event one-on-one.
Yeah.
Let's, meet up after the session. Let's connect and figure things out, or if I can help people, or just network and get to know everyone. Those are all the human things that are, I haven't yet really seen it done well in a virtual setting that works for me.
Yeah, me neither. And I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and one of the things that for me, because the way I speak, and part of the way I speak is I don't ever sit or stand behind the podium ever, right? I'm constantly walking, and I walk an average of 3 miles per hour, when I'm doing sessions, which
that's amazing. You get your exercise in and you give a talk. Like, how many steps did you do during your talk?
Yeah, I calculated it once, and it was a lot, and I forget what it was now, but that was like 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, it's a lot, but part of walking in the style that I speak in, boosts my endorphins, right? And that's why I actually get a real big letdown when I stop speaking, when the hour's over. And it actually causes some depression in a way too. But
it's over, yeah.
Yeah. But the endorphins is, it really helps me do a good session, and helps me keep my weight off, right? Because I've lost 130 pounds, and so I really miss that part. But you're right about the in-person part, because one of the things I'm sure every speaker will complain about is when you're speaking online like this. I get to talk to you, but if I'm doing a conference, I am talking to nobody, right? And
there's no one to make eye contact with. You can't feel the room or the energy in it.
Yeah, and I do that. I try to look at every single person in my audience, right? And I usually pick out a couple people to focus on, just so I'm not looking at everybody the whole time, but I try to look at everybody. And that's how you were talking about reading the room. That's how I read the room, right? And I instantly change my talk based on what I'm seeing in people's eyes and expressions, right? Yeah. And you can't do that online, right?
But I'm seeing some hope. I mean, I was browsing, I came across my Twitter feed the other day that NDC Oslo seems to have an open CFP now, and they're aiming for an in-person event September 13th to 17th. It's on their site, and fingers crossed, because maybe we'll have enough vaccines by then. Like, it's some hope anyway.
Yeah, I'll definitely have my vaccine by then, because I should be able to get it pretty soon, I hope. And so I'm, my big thing is I'm not going on a plane, I'm not traveling, nothing until I get the vaccine, right? I have not gone 10 miles from my house, in a year, and
I can't wait for the party. Once it's over, once the world opens up again, it's like, get me on an airplane. I want to go anywhere. Anywhere.
I don't care where it is. I'll go to Palm Springs. I don't care. Cabin fever so bad, it's just not funny, and
cabin fever, withdrawal from human contact in society.
I mean, I got my hair done yesterday, and that's literally in the last year the only time I get a hug. Because my I'm single, I live alone, and my hairdresser I've known since the 90s, And so we've known each other a long time. And she actually lives near me now. And so I just go to her house, to get my hair done. And yeah, that's like the only time I get a human contact. It's crazy.
It is, but light at the end of the tunnel. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
hopeful.
Oh, and I think, I don't think this is announced, and I don't know if Mahesh is going to get mad at me, but I know he's thinking about doing a speaker tour later on in the year. Me and Magnus and him and a couple other people to go toward Europe. I'm really excited about because I've never actually spoken in Europe, and I've never actually really been in Europe except for airports, and that's where my heritage is from. And so I really want to go and check out, kind of where I'm from, and um,
Yeah, Europe's
so
amazing. I mean,
yeah,
I can say I was in England a couple of times, London for NDC. So I can't say last year, that didn't happen. Oh wait, this year. But previous to, and I did Tekorama and the DevSum in Sweden, and every country, every city there was beautiful and amazing, and I just want to see more. And
yeah.
then, pandemic shut everything down, so it's like, let's go.
I know. I was really really bummed when that happened last year because there's two conferences I really wanted to go to last year. One was, the my first NDC conference, right? I was chosen to speak at NDC in Portugal, and I've never been there either, and so I really really wanted to go, and especially because I've been trying to get into NDC, and so I finally got in, and I couldn't go. It's so bummed, And then I was supposed to speak in Russia too, and of course that got shut down. I've been trying to go back to. I spoke in the Ukraine in 2015, and I've been trying to go back ever since. I freaking love the Ukraine. It's so beautiful.
I've heard nice things about it. I've never personally been.
Yeah, it's so beautiful where I was. I went to a city in Lviv called Lviv, which is I think it's northeast of Kiev, I think. And before I went there, I was actually speaking in Los Angeles, and somebody from the Ukraine came up to me after my talk and said, what city are you going to? And I said Lviv, and he goes, oh my God, that's the most beautiful city in the Ukraine. And after being there, I can't imagine anything better, to tell you the truth.
I'll
And
make sure to check that out if
yeah,
I'm in the neighborhood.
and the food, oh my gosh, the food is so good there, and coffee. Oh, I hate American coffee.
Americans don't have coffee. They have diluted
I know.
something, brown
They have
water.
it's dessert. Yeah, that was the Ukrainian coffees. They also have a lot of Turkish coffee there too, and the Ukrainian coffee I cannot drink without putting some sugar in it. It is so freaking strong, and kind of like their
Sounds right
vodka.
up my alley. Bring it.
I know. So I've been trying to go back. Oh, I didn't go to the place where they like coffee on fire. I really wanted to go to that place, but
Coffee on fire? That
yeah,
sounds.
some coffee bar where they like coffee on fire.
And this is in Ukraine?
Yeah, in Lviv.
That
Yeah,
sounds amazing.
yeah. And one of the trips I did, so the conference was really awesome because, I told them, this is my first time to Ukraine. If I'm coming there, I want to do stuff, you know. And so they arranged two private tours for me. Private, a driver, a tour guide, and me. It was
Very
awesome.
cool.
And the first tour, which was the day after the big conference, we drove, I think, an hour or so or hour or two outside the city, and we went to these three castles that were built in like the 11th and 12th centuries.
Sounds incredible.
I never seen anything like that before, and the first one we had lunch in, and my tour guide, her name's Diana. She knew the person who ran the restaurant, so the person in the restaurant put us in a room by ourselves, right? And it was one of those rooms like you saw out of the Knights of the Round Table kind of movies, right? Everything's brick, and there's animal skins on the wall. All the chairs and the tables are this big, thick, heavy wood, and it's real. It's not the fakey
Right.
stuff you see in America, right? And at lunchtime, when we're waiting for our food, she says to me, she goes, "Dave, I think, do you want to go back to the hotel?" And I go, "Why?" She goes, "You don't look like you're that interested." I go, "Oh, yes, I am. I'm just in shock, you know, and I don't know what to say because I've never seen anything like this. I've never been in a building that old in my life, right? And I'm just information overload, right?
That's amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
America's a young country. We look
yeah,
at it, 200 years, or 200 years old. Some of the
yeah,
earlier settlements, 16s, 40s, and
yeah,
or maybe a little earlier. But you look at Europe or the Middle East and those parts of the world, and you look at the ruins that they have and the history. And I
yeah,
was when I visited Jerusalem. You're there, or in Haifa, or any of the areas there. You're in places that are 1,000 years BCE.
hmm,
There's, you just, for me, I would love to imagine the history, the people over the 3,000 years old. Like 3,000 years of history occurred between when that stone, this structure was there, and today, and like wow.
yeah, 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 and it's pretty cool. Like you said, us in America, we don't get to see those kind of things, right? If we see a Castle America, it's fake, you know, and
Yep.
people that go to that, the the dinner thing, the dinner theater thing, where they're doing jousting and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Yeah, come on, really?
Well, they're good. They're fun. They're good
Yeah,
actors.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
on a
yeah, but
horse.
yeah, but yeah, I love doing that. And one of the things I love is I love traveling and speaking in different, not only different places in America, but different countries, because I love learning how software engineering is different from place to place. And it's literally different from every region you go to. I don't care if it's Southern California, Northern California, back east, Texas, it's all different, right? And the one thing that I really noticed. There's two things I'd like to point out. The one thing is I was asked the toughest questions at a conference in the Ukraine. Yeah, they stumped me. And most conferences can't do that. You know, and so they were pretty hard with their questions there. They came prepared.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And then the other thing was before I spoke at the conference, I was standing in the back. There were about, I don't know, 300 or 400 people there, I think, and in this one big gigantic room, and I was standing in the back, and one of the girls who was running the conference comes up to me, and I was looking around before that, and I asked her, I said, and I noticed there were a lot of women in the audience, a lot. I mean, more than I've ever seen at a conference. And, I asked her, I said, "Are all these women here programmers?" Because, I thought maybe they were just here with their boyfriends or husbands or something. And she goes, "No, they're all programmers." And I go, "So what do you think the ratio of, men to women are in the Ukraine?" And she said, 40% are women. And I think
That's
that's
very
pretty
good.
cool. Yeah. So whatever they're doing over there, they're doing better than we are.
Sounds like
So
I need to check out a conference in Ukraine.
yeah, yeah. So what's like a conference you really like going to in a different country or city or something?
So NDC was fun. I mean,
Yeah,
they've always been very hospitable, and DevSum and TechRM were all fantastic. I mean, they know the European conferences really know how to put on an event and
yeah.
treat their speakers quite well. So quite enjoy all of those, and I would like to try others. Right?
Mhm. Yeah,
I'd love to go to Australia at some point,
me
although that's
too.
a heck of a flight.
I know.
But I'd just go for a couple of weeks at that point and work for an extra week or two from down under,
Yeah,
just to have some time to explore.
yeah. I've tried to get to the NDC there, and I can't get accepted. And I also want to go speak in New Zealand too. You know, I might stay there because they did like one of the best countries on the pandemic.
I don't know. They're not going to let us in.
That's true.
We're plane carriers.
Oh, I just got a COVID test, so maybe they'll let me in. But yeah, I love going to different places, and that's what I really miss, and the human interaction, and that's because I work at home and I live alone. That's how I get a lot of my interaction, and haven't had that for over a year now. So yeah, it's there's some other point I wanted to make about speaking. I don't know. Any other tips you have about speaking while I'm trying to
Well,
remember
sure.
what I was trying to
I think one thing I do enjoy doing is also trying to help others who aren't as well known. Like people say, what do I want to speak about? What do I know? I
Yeah.
see this a lot around people that haven't spoken yet, or maybe more junior developers. And, you know, I think it goes, one thing that just always needs to be said. I always, we all feel like imposters every time we go up there.
Hmm.
And the other part is that just because others are telling a similar story, they're not your story.
Right.
I think the
Right.
thing I always try and mentor and guide folks who are asking me for help coming up with, what do I talk about?
Hmm.
I kind of ask back, what is it you enjoy doing? What's that
Yeah.
technology that you're doing? What's your recent project? What was the last thing that you did that was really exciting to you? And it doesn't even matter what it
Mm.
is, whether it's seemingly beginner or something.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing, and I try and coach folks, are how did you learn it? What's your story? What was
Right.
your journey to get from where you were before to figuring this thing out? And what did you learn from it? And that's a story that is uniquely theirs
Hmm.
and would often, hopefully, catch and resonate with the audience. Because all of those audiences are always going to have someone else who might be just like that other person.
Hmm.
They're going to be like, they're a beginner, or they say, look, that sounds really interesting. And they're going to put themselves in the speaker's shoes and try and learn how did they get from where they were to the end point.
Yeah.
And it's that telling a story that's about how you learned something, how you did something, is not something anyone else can do. No one else can take it. It's not yet another story in an ocean because it's uniquely yours.
Hmm.
I think everyone has something to tell if they want.
I totally agree. 100%. And in my thinking, because I've been speaking for 27 years and writing for 27 years, and one of the things I tell people usually privately is my goal is just to reach one person. That's it. And that's why the tagline on my website is, improving code quality one developer at a time, right? Because that's my goal. I just want to touch I want to inspire one person, when I do a talk, right? And that's my goal. So if I do that, I'm happy, right? And so hopefully more people get something from it, right? But I only go for one.
Yep.
Yeah. And with that, there's always going to be one person in the audience that doesn't like you. So
It's all right. I don't
don't
have to like everyone, and they don't all have to like me.
yeah, yeah. So kind of forget the negativity when you hear
Yeah.
that.
It's
I
like,
have
don't
a
read the comments on if they're posted on YouTube. Don't read them.
yeah.
No,
I
there's no
usually don't.
reason.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's got an opinion, and if I help one person, I don't really care about everybody else's opinion. To tell you the truth. So
Absolutely.
So I do have a question. We've got a couple questions now. Oh crap, we only have 9 minutes left. So someone asked they want to learn .NET Core. So can you tell them quick where they could go learn .NET Core?
I would say there's a lot of 101 learning content on .net/learn. And so if you go there, there's a lot of pointers to some videos, to some LinkedIn learning courses that are free. There's also a whole bunch of Pluralsight courses that if you have access to that, there's a lot of great content. I think if you start on .net and there's /learn, you'll have a good directory to a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah, and I also recommend checking out Pluralsight. Yeah, I think you can get a month for free or 2 weeks for free, and so Pluralsight's a great place to learn. And if you're learning, I highly recommend getting a Pluralsight subscription. So yeah. Uh, so the other question was, what to learn done at core. What do you don't like about offline conferences? Simon, what do you mean about offline? Like recorded?
Yeah, in person. In person conferences.
Oh, in person. What don't you like about in-person conferences? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So Claire, what don't you like about an in-person conference?
What don't I like about in-person conferences? Well, I don't know. I mean, some conferences, the food is less than ideal and you're hungry and you're crowded and you're like, all right. Or it's depending on the time and you're like, I have to prepare for my talk and lunch is over there and I'm not eating first because like maybe many of you, I get the pre-talk butterflies and I'm just like, I'm not hungry. After my talk is done, I'll be starving, but then there'll be nothing left.
Right. Yeah.
Or I'll like be caught up in the conversation, which I love with everyone else. Meanwhile, I'm like eyeing the steak or the food or there's something over there. And I'm like, I don't want to be rude. I want to talk to everyone here, but I also want to eat.
Yeah. I have to eat gluten-free. And so that's always a struggle at conferences. But, I thought about this a little bit ago and I'll say it again is all you conferences in America, you need to learn from foreign conferences because foreign conferences treat their speakers really, really well, right? I mean, I am taken care of so well at conferences, not in this country. It just floors me, that they bend over backwards to take care of me, even my dietary restrictions, any weird things I might like to, have, when I speak and, things like that. And American conferences basically just say the big F you to you. And so American conferences, I don't like speaking here anymore. And it's because of the way you treat your speakers. And this is how you make money, or this is how you get people to come to your conference. And if you don't treat us well, guess what? I'm not coming back. And there's some conferences I won't go to anymore in America because of that. And so come on, really? I mean, it's like treating authors bad, right? Oh, wait, they do that too. Never mind. So, so my friend Mark asked, what are your favorite Twitter accounts to follow?
Twitter accounts. Unfortunately, I don't have them memorized. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. But there are a whole bunch of lists out there. Practically speaking, there's a .NET team alias or list if you want to follow all of the members on the .NET team. I believe the list is published from the .NET Twitter account. Definitely check that out. We also have the .NET Foundation, .NET FDN, where we tweet out news and try and amplify other community projects and news. And we do that out of that account for any foundation member and anything that's relevant to the .NET community. It's definitely not a Microsoft handle, the .NET FDN one. The other accounts, I don't know, anything that has fun tweets that starts food fights. Let's get that, Chicago pizza versus Chicago versus New York pizza. I mean, is that a pizza or a casserole or a pie? I'm not sure.
A cake?
Cake, yeah, maybe. Or pie. I think I call Chicago a pie, not a pizza.
Yeah.
Too thick for a pizza.
Actually,
now I'm just asking for a fight.
Yeah. In 2015, I was actually in New York City speaking at the Code Camp there. And because I eat gluten free, I was literally, I really wanted some New York pizza, but I was deathly afraid to ask somebody in one of those restaurants to make a gluten free pizza. Because I kept hearing Seinfeld, the soup Nazi guy in my head going, "Get out of here! We don't have no gluten free pizza for you. Get out!" So I didn't have any because I was afraid I was going to get kicked out of the restaurant. So, okay, enough laughing. I think we took care of all the questions. We'll do one more because we only have a couple minutes left. So Mahesh asks, what's the most exciting technology you were most excited about at Microsoft's working on right now?
It's the most exciting technology. Oh, there's so much. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I'll be biased and I'll say .NET, and I know that is not shocking probably, but I think that it is that, along with some of the UI stacks we're doing with .NET MAUI and some of the community projects like Uno platform, allow the .NET technology stack to really work everywhere. Yeah. So as people who have followed me for a while or probably know, not a huge fan of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I kind of get scared by those divs and CSS and JavaScript. My thoughts on JavaScript can be summed into, I like my compiler to give me errors, thank you. And TypeScript doesn't quite get there for me. But
I'm with you on that.
Uno is pretty cool. They allow you to write WinUI, modern UI style XAML, and have that work everywhere on the desktop apps and on the web through WebAssembly.
Yeah.
And then .NET MAUI will allow you to have XAML, a different flavor that works on iOS and Android and on the Mac and on Windows. So you can write applications that are cross-platform pretty easily and get that native performance. Yeah. Always been a fan of native over the, put too much on the web, and, there's always a pendulum, and for a while it shifted entirely to the web. Mm-hmm. And I think that some of these newer technologies kind of allow it to shift back a little bit, because the effort of creating native isn't so bad when you can have native and the web much more easily.
Well, that's one of the big reasons the web got so popular, right? Is because, we didn't have to install native apps, and we could do things, in this generic browser, and then we had to deal with JavaScript and, but now we can use Blazor and, other technologies coming down the pipe and
now you can use Blazor in a desktop application for a component. Scott Hunter talked about that last week at .NET Conf, focus on the desktop.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Blazor. I'm interested in Blazor and .NET 6, of course. I haven't tried .NET 6 yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
.NET 6, you go for it. I mean, if you're already on .NET 5, our goal is to make going from 5 to 6 to 7 as seamless and as painless as possible. I maintain NuGet Package Explorer, as many of you may know, and that's already running on .NET 6 Preview 1. Yeah. I shifted that over as soon as there was a Preview 1 build available. And so if any of you are running that, you're already running .NET 6 Preview 1 apps on your machine. And I got support for ARM64 on that for free, basically. So that's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. What was I going to say about that? It's I forgot. Yeah. The show's is over time. So I think we got all the questions answered. So before we go, I do want to ask you, besides posting those pictures 3 hours before I want you to, what do you like to do for fun besides that?
For fun, I have to say, I like photography. I like to go around and try and take I do scenery, landscapes, but then I'll go on photo hunts. I'll set a goal where one time in the fall, or in the late fall, I kind of said, I want to get a picture of bees on flowers. Just to have a target, have a mission, as it were. And I took a number of those and I posted those online. So really just trying to find something, an outlet for the creativity.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm an award-winning photographer, and I actually work for a lot of rock bands, including big recording acts. You know, when they come into town, they call me up and say, "Hey, Dave, come do photos of our concert and stuff." And so I
We should
rarely pay
exchange
them.
notes at some
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
right? Like, yeah, that's there, that URL. But if you go up to the root of that site, it's hosted on SmugMug, which I love their gallery system.
Yeah.
I have a
I have
bunch of
SmugMug.
galleries, including the one with the bees is there somewhere.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I've actually been updating my SmugMug this week actually.
That and Lightroom. I love Lightroom
Me
Classic.
too.
The new Lightroom doesn't exist for me. It's Lightroom Classic. Export that to SmugMug, and yeah, party on.
Yeah, I use Lightroom too. I've been using it for a long time. I have Adobe Cloud, you know, and
Yep.
yep. And for a couple of years, I got them to give it to me for free. I strong armed them because I told them I'm a Microsoft MVP, and they gave me it for like 2 or 3 years for free.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
now-
don't. I think I found a promo at the Christmas season where there was some discount. I'm like, oh, grab that. But
Yeah. Well, you know, you gave me an idea. Maybe we should do like a geek photo challenge like monthly, you know, and challenge geeks to go take a picture, you know, with their iPhone or picture, and then
I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I always sometimes I like the free form walks. I'll just kind of go out with my camera and a couple of lenses and just see what inspires me. But other times, having a goal, like let me aim this, especially when we're not traveling a lot. And it's like, I know the park, I know my immediate neighborhood.
Mhm.
So trying to keep the inspiration and see or think of something different, like the bees, at that point, I'm like, all right, the whole point was to see, can I get the honeybees on the flowers and such in different ways. So it was something different within the familiar to keep it more of something to do.
Cool. Yeah, we should talk about that. And here's a tip for you if you're taking pictures of flowers, right? If I know I'm going to someplace like the Balboa Park here, which a long time ago did the World's Fair, they have a rose garden down there that has roses all year, you know. And so one of the tips I do when I go take pictures of flowers is I take a little spray bottle of water and I spray the water on it.
So you cheat to get the dewdrops on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Because dewdrops make it look so much better, right?
Oh, totally.
But that's so hard to find because you have to do it like first thing in the morning or something, right?
Yeah, but the
And,
light
yeah.
first thing in the morning is the
It's
reward
better.
for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Actually, one of the photos that got into the photography exhibit was one I did exactly like that. I was hiking with my girlfriend at the time, you know, early in the morning, and I got this awesome photo that I actually blew up in print and gave it to, you know, one of the people I know, you know, my therapist, you know, to hang on her wall,
Yeah.
you know. So now whenever I go in there, I see my own picture.
Very cool.
So you have anything to plug? We're way over time.
Oh, no, I mean, I'd say, you know, just do good things, contribute to open source.
Yeah.
You have questions about any of the stuff I mentioned or the foundation or .NET 6, tag me on Twitter and I'll try and connect you with the right person or the right team.
Yep. And one thing I say a lot, and even on the show, is you have to reach out and ask people. You know, a lot of people like Claire and I are willing to help you, but you need to ask, you know, and it's okay to ask, you know.
You have questions about photography, I mean, hit me up, whatever.
Yeah. Ask me about photography, music, or coding. It's pretty much all I know.
Very cool.
All right, thanks. And if you want to hang out to see how many people are reviewing your show, you can hang out. We can chat afterwards. But
Sure.
I really appreciate you being on the show. I really appreciate you taking some of your, you know, Saturday afternoon out and to talk to everybody and to me. And it was really great knowing you. And I hope we can collaborate on like photography stuff. And I'd
That'd be
love
fun.
to meet. Yeah, I'd love to meet you in person once we get out there and get this.
Likewise, and thank you so much for having me here. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.
See ya.
All right. Well, that was great. I enjoyed talking to all my guests. I guess I'm biased that way, but I had a great time talking to Claire and getting to know her a bit, and I'm glad I did. You know, and this is what, you know, how we, you know, get to know each other and make things better in our world is by getting to know each other. And so this is one of those ways. And I hope I help you get to know, the people in our world that you should be listening to. So I hope I help that with that. Let me know if I do or don't. All right. So we've got a couple more things, I think, to talk about, one or two more things. Don't forget about the Azure Cosmos DB conference. I'll be watching. I'm not speaking, but I'll be watching. So that's on April 20th and 21st. So go to that URL, go sign up. And Mark Brown, who was on my show last year, he's spearheading that, and we're going to do some cross promotion, I think, on CSharpCorner Live too. I'm not sure. Simon knows better than that than I do. I really appreciate you all watching. I'm glad I'm back, but we're actually off next week, and the reason we're off is because CSharpCorner is doing their first Power Platform virtual conference. And so I'm actually glad we don't have a show because I want to attend. I'm not speaking either because I really don't know a lot about the Power Platform. I've played around with it, but I'm definitely don't know enough to speak about it. So I will be watching that this coming week. So I hope you will too. I hope you will too. Please be safe. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. COVID is still not good in America. We have over 500,000 people have died in America now. So please be safe. Listen to the CDC. Don't listen to government. Listen to the CDC. I think things will be a lot better if you do. Alexa's reminding me my iced tea is ready. Thanks, Alexa. And if you're able, please donate. At your local blood bank. I couldn't 2 weeks ago because I was sick, but I do plan to go in a couple more weeks. It's free, and you help your fellow human. It doesn't cost anything except for a little bit of your time, and it makes you feel really good because you're helping a human stay alive, right? So. Also, make sure you email suggestions about the show to me, what you like on the show, what you don't like on the show, what guests you want me to invite on the show. So far, I haven't got a single email. So come on, the 17th show. I know you guys have opinions, right? So email me there at Rockin The Code World at CSharpCorner.com, and I'll address everything, especially since I'm not getting anything. So come on, send me an email. I don't know if anybody won the CSharpCorner stuff, but hope somebody did. And with that, thanks a lot, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.